The M2000 is the 95 flagship model of the lightest aluminum mountain bike frame and fork combination Cannondale ever produced. Its colorway is as stunning as it is tongue-twisty. It's called Diamond Black Metallic with Blue Pearl Hyper Highlight and Violet Pearl Vertical Hyper Highlight. It was the first and only year of the lightweight 2.8 series frame and the last hurrah for the legendary aluminum Pepperoni fork, which was first introduced on this bike's ancestor, the 1990 SM2000. What we have here is in fact a bike that was imported from the US. It is in full stock condition, even down to the Piranha tires and Coda grips. Despite deviating from the catalog spec, its previous owner Robert assured me that this is the saddle he purchased the bike with back in '95. He also mentioned that he always stored the bike indoors and only ever wiped it down rather than spraying it with water. Judging by the overall condition, I have no reason to doubt him. Not in my wildest dreams did I expect I would ever get to work on one of these, and yet here we are. The fact that the bike is also equipped with a Cannondale handlebar bag and rear rack is the absolute cherry on top. So I was thinking before we do anything else, we'll take all the aftermarket parts off and take a look at the bike in full stock condition. It's not like that's a sight that you get to see every day, so at least it looks like it should be possible to take this off without taking off the grips and shifter first. It would be quite stupid if that wasn't the case. But really don't want to break this, but I also don't want to scratch the bars. That's a little bit unfortunate. To avoid water getting in here, I'm popping them back in. Let's see if the bike came with hidden treasures. Some 90s design band-aids. But yeah, other than that, I'd say as advertised. With protective tape underneath. That's about the level of color fading I was expecting, which is 0. I've never been so nervous when working on a bike. I'm just terrified I'm going to drop something on this frame. These guys bend in all sorts of directions, but I think angling them down a bit more is more how they should be and how they're depicted in the catalog. Seeing this color just makes me want to put a bunch of XTR components on there. Here we go. That's how it now looks like. Don't have a Veta saddle here, that's why I chucked an old Flight on there instead. But just look at it. I don't think I've ever been so tempted to do an all original restoration. I just noticed that the front and rear tires have slightly different tread patterns. So the front is much more pointy. And in fact, there is a little F on the front tire and a little R on the rear. Very important. Do these ever not crack? I think no matter how good condition a bike is in, and I don't think this was ridden a ton, but those rings are always broken. At least on the XT version. Seem to be, I don't know, they must have used something different on the LX, because they seem to break less on those. These cranks were CNC machined out of a single piece of aluminum, and you can even see some of the milling marks on the surface. I'm just kidding. Do you really think I was gonna do that? This one has significantly more signs of wear, presumably caused by the shifting motion, which is a bit unfortunate. And I now really regret selling the ones that were on my M500, because those were pristine. I wonder if there's any logic to the branding on the stem, because on some of these 95 models with these stems, there's a Coda branding on the side, and on others there isn't. It's definitely not like worn off on this one. And my M500 was in similarly good condition, and it also didn't have it, whereas the blue M500 that we were built earlier this year, that one has it. So I don't know, I don't see any logic to that. But maybe one of you guys knows. The products that I used during this restoration are all linked below. I put their names on screen so you can easily identify them, and if you have a project of your own that you're working on, maybe you'll find them helpful. You see, this is the other version. Otherwise, absolutely identical. I wonder if this wasn't originally supposed to be on this bolt, given that there's only one. Now that the frame is stripped of all components, we get a much better look at the actual condition, and no surprises, at least not bad ones. The area around the bottom bracket is obviously quite dirty, but I would consider that some extra protective coating for the paint. There is almost no chain suck, very rare that you see it like this. Same goes for the fork. Usually the cables rub off the paint in that area, just a tiny bit on the bottom headset cup. There are some minor scratches on the top tube, but no reason for concern. This is something that we will address in the next step of the process when we restore the paint. And yeah, the bottom tube, the down tube, also looks really great. Tiny bit of rust on the brake bosses, but no match for cleaning sponges. And the ones in the rear already look brand new. There's a bit of dirt stuck in here which is hard to get to, and so I'm using this sponge. It has a surface that you can use on Teflon pans, and I've used it many times before on paint. It doesn't scratch the paint. You see how well it cleans off that dirt. We will take this off in a second, but I want to clean it while it's still on the frame first. I'm sure you're curious to find out how much this frame set actually weighs, and just frame fork and headset are exactly 2.4 kilos, or if you prefer a more complicated way of expressing that, 5.28 pounds. I know you're gonna ask, this is what I'm using. It's an old product. I don't know if it's still available. There's a nasty long scratch here on the fork. I'm hoping we can get rid of it because it's quite obvious. When I clean the frame, I always like to keep as many holes as possible closed up to prevent water from entering the frame. But of course they're a little bit in the way as well. That's why when I polish the frame, I usually take them out. Now to preserve and protect the freshly polished paint, I'm going to use a frame wax. I use one by Spray Bike. It's the Frame Builder's Top Wax. And this is just to kind of seal off the paint and make sure that dirt doesn't stick to it. And it also smells really nice. So really nice all around. Normally at this stage of the video is when we start putting the bike back together, but not today. I wanted to be able to present this frame in the best condition possible. If you look online, you will only find evidence of a handful of these bikes, which of course is not to say that there are more, but the M2000 is definitely super rare. You see, if you were willing to spend top dollar on a mountain bike in the mid-90s, odds are you opted for either a front or even full suspension model by then. So it's safe to assume that not many of these M2000s were sold in the first place, and those that purchased one probably aren't too likely going to sell them to you. Which means, as much as this may be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for me to work on one of these, it may also be a unique chance for one of you out there watching to get this built up. Whether you are a collector and want this to be brought back to near showroom condition, or if you've just been waiting for the right frame to come along to get your dream resto mod built up, this may be your chance. But to ensure that you will get to at least look at one of these in modded condition, I reached out to a collector in Berlin, and he was kind enough to send me footage of his.